Hi guys, hope you're having a great day. Today I'm going to be doing the 8 more questions hashtag that was going around the fountain pen edition of it. So I'm really on a fountain pen kick recently. Well, it's been happening for the last 2, 3 years now. I guess that brings us to our very first question, which is when and how did your fountain pen journey begin? Actually, I started using dip nibs and dip pens when I was in like primary school, and then I did some basic calligraphy using that, just practicing my handwriting. And I worked with that for a while, but when I really started to get into fountain pens was a group of friends and I were going to gift a pen to a friend who was using fountain pens. And I went to buy a fountain pen, and while I was there, I also saw this pen that I thought was so cute, and I love green, and that's the Pilot Metro. So I picked up this pen because I basically penabled myself, even though I was there to get a gift for someone else. So I'll call that penabled myself via the Pilot Metropolitan. And I got this one in the fine nib size, which I now realize maybe wasn't the best for me, but because I used to draw with a lot of technical pencils, and I still do, technical pens and technical pencils, I usually use very fine point, like 0.12 to 0.28 millimeters, and that's why I thought I would like it if it was fine. Nowadays, I won't ever get rid of this pen because it has sentimental value to me, and I also really like the color. So that's my first one. Next, do I have different pens for different uses? Yes, for sure I do. So for example, I have this Schaefer No Nonsense pen, and it has a really big italic bold nib on it. So for example, this one, I would use it for headers. And you have to go slow when you're writing with this pen because it is very thick. But if you're talking about like which ones do I use something to like sign important documents and things like that, I'm just not at that point in my career that I would need such a thing, and I don't think that I would be the kind of person to buy something specifically for a one-time purpose like that. However, I know a lot of people who do that, and that's fantastic for them. I do have one other pen that I would use for special occasions, mainly for travel, which is this one over here. And this is my Opus 88 Bella. The great thing about Opus 88s is that you can just, twist the back here and then let the ink run through. And I mainly use this one for when I go traveling. Opus 88. For travel. And it's really great because when you're on an airplane and there's a change in pressure, all your ink won't squirt into the cap because this can just plug it back once you've sealed it all the way here. So it's just whatever's left in the feed. All right. So next, how do you choose the inks and pens you will use next? I don't have a super large collection. I have what I think is a mid-sized collection. I have about 50 pens, and so that means for me, I just keep all of them inked at one time because within 1 month I can usually finish at least 80 to 90% of all my pens, and they'll run dry by the end of the month. So that's basically what I do for this one. But I do choose different ones that I bring to my work. So I have this, which is the Fountain Pen Revolution leather pen rule, and I just pack this fill. Every weekend I'll take several different pens. I try to pick different colors, for example, and different nib sizes. So I'll take 3 of them out here so we can go through them a bit. So generally, what do I look for? I look for color. This one is really red, and this is the Rotring core. And I have Wondrous Winterberry from Ferris Wheel Press in it right now. Super cool pen. And then I will also always have a pen that is either blue or black ink. So very, what I call a standard pen that people can always use and borrow. And it would always be in a medium or fine point so that anyone who doesn't use fountain pens, if they come over to my desk and they want to write something really quick, they can just use it. And I will also grab a pen like this for headers when I take note. So that's sort of how I decide which ones I will use next. But realistically, I kind of ink everything at the same time. I don't really like always match the ink to how the pen looks like. Obviously, I have done that for this one over here, but that's not always the case. I just kind of add whatever ink I love, and the inks I love usually go into the pens I love more. And the inks I don't really like go into the pens I don't like. So as you can see, that's kind of bad, right? Because then I'm using the pens I like less, even less. So next I have, which pen do you prefer for longer writing sessions? Ooh, this is kind of hard because there's so many pens that can do longer writing sessions. I will put a couple of them here actually. So I am going to say, out of all my pens, these are the ones that I use the most for longer writing sessions. So I'm going to very quickly take a little screenshot here for the thumbnail. So I'll just write them out. So first up, we have another Rotring core. And then I have this, which is the Platinum Plaisir. And this one is in Aura, which is just the finish of it. It's like this pearlescent green color. I have the Diplomat Magnum. I love the Visconti Breeze. This is my very first Visconti, and ever since then I have been hunting for more. And also the Diplomat Arrow, which I'll put under this one because they're the same brand. All of these pens have a really good, if they're not too heavy, not too light. They range, obviously the Rotring core is way lighter than this one. This one's probably the most heaviest one out of all of them. they're durable. One thing that you will notice is they are all snap caps. I really dislike twist caps, especially for longer writing sessions. So if I'm gonna write and then I have to pause for a moment and I think, I cap it back, it's gonna be so much easier than like doing this the whole time. Like I just have to, and it's so satisfying. So I'm gonna actually move these guys out of the way for now. There's just so many of them. All right, so next is, what is your all-time favorite pen? This is, once again, really, really difficult. So this is not, I don't have an all-time favorite pen. So I'll preface that first. I don't have one, but there are two that I really, really like. And it's not so much because, well, actually three that I really, really like. It's not so much because they're my all-time favorites, but more so because either the way I came to get them was very interesting, or I've been wanting it for a long time and I finally got it, or it could even be that I just think it's really, really pretty. So I'm going to start off again, the Diplomat Arrow. I love this pen so much, and I have two of them, but I like this one more because it's in green and it's also in the broad, and that is, I have another one in a medium and it's just not the same. The broad is so much better, and I'm just really happy that I have this. I've been using it like nonstop since I got it. I also have this beauty from London Pen Co. It's a local Canadian maker. I have this outfitted with a Yovo double broad nib. It is the Christopher 14. So London Pen Co. Christopher 14. And I have this in Brooks PM4. That is the material, the primary manipulation for, and it is, I hope it is showing just how pretty it is. And then I also have this pen over here, and this is the Yard OLED Viceroy Standard in the barley corn finish. It's just really, really pretty. This pen is actually quite difficult for me to use, especially for longer writing sessions, because it's very thin, and I have quite big hands actually, although like my fingers are quite slender. So this is the Yard. And it is in the medium, which if you take a look, it's very similar to the other broads, which is probably why I like it so much. It's got an 18 karat gold nib, super bouncy. I believe that they're just Bach nibs that are 18 karat gold, but it's fantastic. All right, so next, if I had to choose one nib size, what would it be? So I think it's pretty obvious given everything here. I'm just gonna lay these down. I think it'll be, let's grab a quick thumbnail here. I think this is actually a prettier picture. Oh, or actually, haha, maybe this, I really want to show off this pen. This pen is like stunning. Honestly, check out London Pen Co. They are so fantastic. And you get exactly the one that is listed on the site too, which is fantastic. I have another one from him, which would be this one. This is in the Unknown, and this is the Christopher 13. This is outfitted with a Bach nib. And so this one is very obvious. I would go with broad or double broad. This one is in a broad. So just in here, another London Pen Co. This is the Christopher 13. And this one has the Bach nib. Love this pen. This is also a really easy, long, long writing session writer. Next, what is an absolute deal breaker for you for pen and for an ink? That is kind of hard. I guess one of my deal breakers for a pen is if it can't write well. So for example, hard starts, like now. This pen, like sometimes I can get it going. This is the Conklin All-American in the wood finishes, and sometimes they are just so finicky because I've already waxed the interior to avoid evaporation, but seems like sometimes it still doesn't work. So let's see. Oh, here you go. But I do have a cartridge in this, so like it will be a little bit more dry versus if I had a converter with a wetter ink. So hard starts, if it is like really impossible to write with, for example, scratchiness. And then for an ink, I think if it's boring, that's number one. Like this cartridge over here, this is the Kaweco dark regular blue. It's really boring for me. I really don't like it, but I wanted to try out all the different Kaweco cartridges, so I thought, okay, why not? If it's boring, and also if it feathers on the papers that I have. Like, of course, different papers would perform differently, but overall, if it's feathering on my like Tomoe River, if it's feathering on Midori, if it's feathering on Nemosine, Rhodia, etc. These are like fountain pen tested papers and they're still feathering. Like I'm not about it. And then lastly, we have what is one pen everyone should have? So this is actually a really difficult question to answer because there are so many different options for pens that are fantastic and I think that everyone should have. So I'm going to give two options here. One is this one, and this is a TWSBI Swipe, and I have it in a broad nib. In whatever nib you like. And the reason I say this is because this comes in a variety of different nibs, so you can choose. You're not limited. It's an affordable pen. It's around like that $30 mark, which is not bad at all. And it's actually pretty durable. I know it's like plastic, but it's not overly cheap. It's also light. So, and right now I have it outfitted with a cartridge, but the actual converter I have right here. And it's this one, and it's so easy. Like you just push, it's like a plunger. But the reason why I love this is because this pen, like to wash it is not finicky at all. You just plunge a couple times and then you're done. You're on to the next ink. It's so easy. So I would definitely say this one. And then I don't have one with me right now, but I would say either the Kaweco Perkio or a Preppy, so Platinum Preppy. And I know it's discontinued now, but I really do love the Pilot Petite. And I do have the Pilot Petite. I will go grab it. This is the Kaweco Perkio. I keep the Pilot Petite in my purse actually. So here it is. Let me just write it down here. pilot. I once went to a conference and forgot to bring a pen, and for whatever reason the conference just didn't have pens. Like normally they have like free pens, free swag. They didn't have it, so I was just stuck with this pen, and I had to write an entire week's worth of like lecture notes just based on this, and I had like a full cartridge, and by the end of it it was completely gone, and I was really worried that I wasn't going to get my last little notes in from it. But this is like super handy. You can eyedropper it too. So instead of using a cartridge, which I have, you can just add some silicone grease here and then fill it up with ink and then pop it in. But I don't do that just because I do put this in my handbag and I don't want it to spill everywhere. All right, so those are my 8 more questions fountain pen edition. Thanks for listening.